Hi everybody, I'm Dan the Monster Man from gourmetpapier-mâché.com. So this year for Halloween, I wanted to be someone different, something fun. So what could be more fun than, let's say, a Wall Street banker? So I made a mask for that. Here it is. Perfect, don't you think? So this is a little tutorial to show you how I made this. To start, we're going to make an impression of our head. To do that, we're going to use this small gauge wire. I got this at Home Depot. It's called wire form. And we're going to need some scissors, masking tape, and a little bit of courage. Here's the wire I'm talking about. They call this diamond mesh. 10 feet long and 20 feet wide. I guess that's plenty, unless you've got a giant face. Okay, because I'm going to make a mask that carries a lot of weight, has those big horns, I want it not only to go over my face, but to be like a skull cap. I want it to go into the back. So I'm going to use a pretty big piece of wire. I cut a piece of mesh about this big, because I'm going to wrap it all the way around. Now this is a little bit sharp at the edges, so be careful. Just put it over your face. Got to start somewhere. Guess I'll start with my chin. Start down here. Just start squishing it together. Kind of closing it around, folding it over where it needs to be.
And the idea is just to press it in, kind of get the wire to conform to your face. Pushing over, pushing into my eye sockets, accentuating my cheeks, like that. And as I get to my brows, again, I'm going to kind of fold the wire where it needs to be. Just really pressing it in. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good. It's a real nice shape. Can you see that? Okay. Now for the next step.
So what would that next step be? Oh yes, we've got to trim the wire with some scissors. No treats till we're done. So I just cut along the jowls, under the chin, all the way around. Now the edges are sharp. To take care of that, I wrap it with masking tape. So I use a combination of paper mache and something I call cloth mache. It's a process I invented quite a few years ago. You just take an old bed sheet, tear it into strips of various sizes, then dip it into white glue like Elmer's or some all-purpose glue. Allows for some great detail. Now I know some people like to use plaster cloth for something like this. Stuff is just way too heavy for a mask of this size, and it's really unwieldy to use. Cloth mache is extremely light and strong. You're really going to like it. And you can find an old bed sheet almost anywhere. For the cloth mache, you're going to need an old bed sheet. The older the better, actually. Some white glue. I show a gallon here. You only need a couple of quarts. Some scissors, and get a good night's sleep. I'm going to tear the cloth into strips, dip it in glue, and put it on this impression of my face. That'll make it nice and strong, and then tomorrow I can do some sculpting on top of this. So I tear the cloth into strips, then I fold them up, then I pull off the strings at the end. I do this with a lot of different strips, and I cut them at the end after they're folded, so I end up with a pile of lots of different sizes. So now I'm putting each piece of cloth in the glue, squeezing out the excess, taking off the strings, and then I'm going to apply one piece at a time over our wire armature. Now actually, this film is going about twice as fast. It's going to take you a little bit longer. It's pretty obvious. Toward the end, I'll even speed it up faster. Okay, so I let this dry overnight. This cloth mache is really amazing. It's nice and light, and it's a perfect vehicle to start putting horns on. Now, by the way, I gotta mention, if you don't like the cloth mache technique, you can use regular paper mache. I did another one just so you can see with paper mache on it. That'll work fine too. In any case, this will fit right over my head like this. So if you have questions, come visit me at gourmetpapier-mâché.com or visit my blog, papier-mâché-blog.com. Okay, so that's the end of part 1. So Riley, what do they get if they come back for part 2? What do they get if they work really hard?